Hi, I'm James Wilson, the chairman of the Workington Comets Speedway Supporters Club, and I'm joined today by Steve Lawson, co-promoter and track curator for the return of the Comets in 2023. As an avid fan of Speedway and the Comets, this is a very exciting time for Speedway fans in Workington, as it's been over 4 years since the Comets have raced competitively. But thanks to yourself, Steve, Andrew, the promotion team and all the volunteers down at the track, this season sees the return of Speedway to Workington. So thanks, Steve, for sitting down and having a chat with me today and talking about the up-and-coming season and the return of the Comets. Pleasure. You've had a long career yourself in Speedway, spanning almost 20 years as a rider. You're a well-respected and loved track curator, and you're also currently a mechanic with Dan. What made you want to get involved with the return of the Comets?
Well, it was Andrew that he asked me to... When the Speedway finished at Derwent Park, he said he wants to bring league racing back to Workington. So he said, what do you think we need to do about the track? So he invited me down and we looked at what we had, and I said, well, we can't run on that track, you know, it's just going to be impossible. So he said, right, what do you need to do? I said, well, you know, what can we fit into this area? And initially we were looking at a Redcar-sized track, and I said to Andrew, well, and we did some measurements to see what we could fit in, and so I left out. He said, I'll give you a call in a couple of weeks. So I went back, and he'd moved one or two trees, and quite a lot of banking. Well, thousands of tons of banking, and suddenly we had a blank canvas that could, you know, we could fit something, you know, even more suitable to modern day Speedway. So I had a chat with. It was sadly now deceased Steve Casey, and he gave me loads of information. What they went on scouting parties to Poland, and they looked at some of the best racetracks in the country, and I got a little bit of feedback from that. You know, what sort of, you know, the tracks are built in Poland to a method. You know, there's a blueprint for designing a track, and we kind of went down that road. And so we basically pegged out an area that we had, and we tweaked with it, and we looked at. We've got a lot of data from Bellevue, and you know, the straights at Bellevue are 13 metres wide. So you know, we thought we'll go one better. We'll make out it was 14 metres wide. So we did that. We also Bellevue's the apex of the corners they're 18 metres wide, so we went 19, you know, just so we could, you know, and we're not quite as big as Bellevue. It's a 300-metre track, and then we went down the other road of, you know, we wanted for the future, for, you know, if we ever get a chance of any FIM events, so we just, you know, we stuck to FIM stipulation on pretty much everything really, down, you know, the changing rooms, which we're not going to have the brick-built changing rooms for this year, but you know that's further down the line. But you know the plans are to build FIM spec changing rooms. I didn't even know there was such a thing, but there is apparently. The pits are built now. In fact, I've just come down off the roof and we're doing the finishing touches with the pits, and you know, the pits are FIM spec as well. So all in all, I'm really pleased with how things are turning out. And you know, the basic design and shape of the track. As an ex-rider, you know pinch points on the track. You know where there's a lot of queuing up to get into corners. So we've made it so flowing and wide that this, you know, nobody can hide out in front. You know, they're going to be, if they're not going quick enough, they're going to be vulnerable to be overtaken. So, well, that's the plan. You know, we'll know on the 13th of May whether it works or not. Yeah.
So with all your experience, it made sense for Andrew to get you on board as track curator for the year. But this season, you're also taking on a new role within Speedway. You're going to be co-promoter here at Workington. How are you settling into being on this side of the fence?
Right, well, I actually won't be this side of the fence. I'll be still doing the track curator, but it's an honour. Andrew asked me if I would consider doing it, and I said, well, yeah, I'd be delighted to do it. You know, I mean, going back to 1970 when I used to sneak into Derwent Park when I was a kid and watch Speedway. You know, I never thought for 1 minute I would actually be a promoter of the Speedway track. But yeah, it's an honour to be that. But I don't think it'll affect me in any way. You know, my main objective is to get a good racetrack, and I want to I'll try my best to, you know, to keep the racing flowing, no long delays. I had a year's experience at Derwent Park, the year we won everything that we could win in the Championship League, and I learned to work with the riders and you know, see what they liked, and I think, you know, if we can do that with the young kids that we've got in this year's team, I'm hoping we'll be successful.
Good. So the young kids, they've had a couple of practice sessions so far. Have you had any feedback from them?
Yeah, I mean, the amazing thing was, when I met the riders when they came in and they walked around the track, the first thing that they all said was, "It's nothing like the pictures." You know, you lose the aspect of the banking on photographs, and each one of them was, you know, they were happy. Well, they were delighted with what they saw when they walked in the gates. You know, so that was nice. That they all, you know, they're all impressed with what they saw, and the feedback from when they've been riding, that they're all buzzing about it. I mean, it wasn't prepared the way it will be for race meetings. No. I mean, it was the first session. It was on a Saturday. It was a weekend. And the first session was Saturday. Friday morning, I came to the track, and the track surface was like a mattress. It was spongy, and I thought, we're going to have to call this off. We're going to cancel it because we had a week of bad weather. Yeah. But I just rolled the track all day long, and we made it into pretty much a concrete surface. So I knew it wouldn't break up, but it won't be prepared as slick as that for race meetings. But it was a case of just letting the kids get on and get some laps under the belt. You know, they'll get dialed into the shape of the track and how it flows, but there will be a bit more dirt on the race day.
And as you've said, they are one of the youngest teams in the league this year.
Yeah.
So how do you think you could pass on your knowledge from your riding days and your days mechanicking with Dan?
Well, I mean, first working with my son Richard, you know, we went through the learning process together, and then Richard moved on, and then Dan approached. Well, I've known Dan since he was a baby, really. I'm good friends with his dad, and he decided he wanted to go, you know, to try Speedway out. So I had a little practice 125 Speedway bike, and I said, just come and get it, and because I've got my own little track at home. And he just used to go around there lap after lap. So, you know, I was involved with Dan right from the beginning, and we've learned together things that, you know, mistakes made, and, you know, and what things work and what doesn't. So there were valuable years then, you know, for both of us to, you know, and I can pass that on to the youngsters here as well. You know, if they're prepared to listen to what we've been, you know, the ride that we've been through to get, you know, Dan where he is now. I'm not taking any credit for that. You know, he's earned that in his own right. But, you know, we worked together through the years, and we kind of know what things work. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit in Speedway. You can edit that out, Brad, if you want. There is a lot of bullshit, but you know, you know, if there's a new fad, everybody jumps on it, and most of the times they have fads, they don't actually work. And you know, we've found out, you know, you just got to focus on keeping it simple, and you know, the things that you learn through experience are just fads, you know, and fashion things. But you know, we'll see how the lads go. You know, a lot of these kids have got their own program they're going to work to. But if I can help, and you know, if I see, you know, someone's got something that might hinder him in the future, I can maybe point it out, and they can work on things together. We'll see how it turns out. You know.
Yeah. So we've talked about the track already down here at Northside, and how it's changed massively since it was first here, a small training track. But there's also been quite a lot of other changes around the place as well.
Right.
There's the raised bank areas up the height, like up around the sides. There's the new pits. There's the referee's box up on the bank. What are the standout sort of things for you?
Well, the way, you know, a lot of what we've got now wasn't actually what we planned. It's just evolved, you know, through discussion, and you know, we've had to shift a lot of material around, and the byproduct of that has turned out to be excellent viewing all the way around. You know, I mean, we won't get it all for this season. You know, it's probably a 10-year plan to get where we want to be eventually, but you know, we're just doing the essential stuff now. There'll be a lot more facilities for spectators further down the line, but you know, we're going to start with basic stuff. I'm hoping we get some seating in shortly, and Andrew's often said to me, you know, further down the line, we'd like some covering, you know, some enclosed areas where we can shelter, and you know, floodlights for evening meetings and things like that. But obviously, we can't make all that this year. I think we'll still be able to provide good entertainment, but you know, there's more to come.
Sure, you've had lots of people asking you about what's going to happen this season, how's the stadium going to change, what's everything going to be like. But also, like, have you had many riders come up to you asking, what's the track like? When can I ever go on the track?
Yeah, all the time. I get, you know, I'm still working for Dan, and you know, I bump into different riders. At Bellevue the other week, Casper Jack, you know, he came. I don't know how the hell he knew about Northside. He wanted to practice on the track. I said, it's not ready yet. The track isn't finished. He says, tomorrow? I said, no. I said, we're not even that close. So, you know, people that I've never even, you know, spoken to at all, they'll come up to me and ask about the track. And I quite enjoy talking about it, to be honest, because, you know, it's our little baby, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Who would you like to see go around this track? Which riders do you think it would be suited to?
Well, I've seen Andrew, so we'll cross that one off. I'd like to see, you know, well, I've seen Dan ride, and to be honest, Dan is the fastest rider on the planet. When he, you know, he's had more on the time qualification in the Grand Prix. Dan is probably the fastest guy in the world.
Yeah.
So I've seen the fastest guy go around. Difficult question. You know, after you've seen Dan go around, there's really, you know, Smarsley comes second best, doesn't he, really?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I know one rider that I'd like to see go around here. He's went round last summer. Is yourself. Is there any chance of you getting the lap in before the season starts and setting a new track record?
Well, you know, when the guys asked, you know, when we're building the track, it was always said that, right, Steve, you're doing the first 4 laps, you know, the first track record. And I went along with it right along. And then when we got near the time, I thought, gee, I'm going to have to get some practice in. So I went on the beach with the bike, and I managed to string 4 laps together. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So there's no reason why I shouldn't have another blast.
Do you think you fancy yourself as a number 8 for the season?
No.
Oh, well, thanks for talking with me today, Steve. And on behalf of the Workington Comets Supporters Club, I want to wish you and all the promotion team the best for the season.
Peace and love.
So the excitement's certainly building around the Comets returning, and we're looking forward to the 13th of May when the tapes go up for Heat 1. Thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more minutes with